Hello there, welcome back to the Technology Innovation Hub. It's going to be another session from DevOps portal. So we have been doing Minikube and we understood the installation and the basic configuration and we execute a few commands as well, right? Okay, let's continue that. Now we will start getting more familiar with more of the Minikube environment because it's a single node cluster, right? So before getting started with Kubernetes, let's create some ports and services likewise. Let's get more familiar with the Minikube environment. Okay. Right. So let me share the screen. Okay. Right. Yes. Yeah. I think if you just go back to the channel again, you will see now we are going on competency level 2, right? We have changed the competency level. You just notice. Go to channel and just take a look at the playlist. tnhdevops. The last video I have uploaded as competence level 2, right? Installing Minikube. So we have been doing CP1. Now we are gradually learning the things inside DevOps and we are just moving ahead. So we are building our competencies. So it's going now almost we have come up to a certain level. That's why I increased the competence level to level 2. So starting from this, it's going to be competency level 3, CP3, right? Okay, right. Yeah, now if you want to check the status, I have the document. Yeah, I think Minikube session, not that, this one. Getting started between, I'll upload this one, right? So if you want to check the current status, let me just clear this screen. See Minikube status. Yeah, it's running at the moment. You can see that. And if you go to the guide and if you go in parallel with the guide, I think we can go together with the guide so that can make sure you won't miss anything as well as. Let's see if it's on this side. Now much better. Right. So again, it's check the same thing, guide Minikube status, right? So that's fine. Then we know there is something called Minikube dashboard, right? The Minikube dashboard is nothing much, just a GUI interface, right? So we can right away start. I think we have already started this one, right? Minikube dashboard. But the thing is this. I think I have to that one. Let me break it off, right? So I think we have the dashboard. Let's check. Yeah, this is the Minikube dashboard. But when you start in the dashboard, you have to be careful with these things, right? Yeah, that's one as well. I think I have given that one in the note. See, enabling a dashboard, if you just try to start the dashboard, let me maximize it again. You just try to start launching and opening, yeah, this default IP address and local loss is running in local loss, right? So running and without, so there'll be error like the error no display environment variable. So you know it's a GUI environment, so you have to get the X Windows system on Linux, right? So therefore it will fail. It will fail if you just run it, right? Of course, you can copy this URL and run in the browser. It will work in that way, but it will automatically launch the browser. That's what I'm telling. So to avoid this error, what you can do, go back to as root and enable the Exos, right? GUI, the X Windows system, right? So what you can do, just Exos plans and enable it to any client. After that, switch to Docker user, right? Then you should export the display like this. I think you remember this is being guided under Oracle, under the Oracle portal with the Oracle installation as well, right? In our channel. So export display and enable the displays 00, right? And then you run Minikube dashboard, then it will right away launch without an issue, because now it can launch a graphical interface, right? A graphical client can be launched because GUI is going to be it's on a browser, so it just launched a GUI interface, right? So now there won't be any error, so it will launch it, right? And yeah, we can take it Minikube dashboard. See, it should automatically launch without we going manually and paste in the URL, right? It will pop up automatically. Just hold on for a while. Yeah, that's what. So it's a nice environment, that's true, but we are not going to deal with GUI too much initially. Later we might be, right? Because in Kubernetes also we have a GUI environment. I'll show you that one later, right? This is for Minikube. Now it shows the current CPU usage, memory usage, and if you want, you can see the jobs and all, and the pods as well. So currently I have these pods are been running at the moment. Right. So anyway, let's take a look at little by little Ingress and those things are there, right? Okay. So that is that. You can just check it, right? And but don't try to spend so much of time on dashboard initially, right? Because we need to understand what's happening behind using the command. And if you want to stop, you can say Minikube stop, right? Just to right away to stop it, right? So it will stop, right? And stop in Minikube. And once it is stop, if you type the status, it will say all thing component size stop, right? So you can try that command, right? And after that, Minikube start. Okay, fine, right? Okay, so now we know what is Docker and all. If you run a Docker PS command, right? So Minikube, let's keep it for a while. And if you run a Docker PS command, this is what I want to show you, right? Now, this one you can see, because you know when Minikube also installing, you may remember it pulled the image, right? When installing, you may remember it pulled the image. That means there's a Docker image running behind, right? So that's what I just want to show you. When you run the Docker PS, you can see the Minikube container is up and running here with this. So that means if it is a container, what you can do? You can get into this place and run, right? You should be able to connect to this one. Okay, let's get the Minikube IP first, right? Minikube IP, our IP for this one, right? This is Minikube IP, right? 192. But our guest choices are in a different IP, right? IP CDDR. Okay, so we are having this Minikube IP is 192.168.49.2. This is my guest choice is having 10.0.2.15, right? Because this is my Minikube cluster IP, right? Single node cluster. Definitely it's going to be the node IP as well, right? So just keep it in the mind for a while. Just make a note of it, right? And now what you're trying to do, right? Okay, let's use the Docker PS command, and I'm trying to do Docker EX interactive terminal, and I'm going to take this one, right? In the guide, all the things are there, right? I'll upload that one for you to do some practicals. And you can say right away bash, right? All right, now where am I? Right, if I type id command, I am as root and host name. And so I am inside the Minikube container. Inside the Minikube container, right? So I get IP address, right? You will see a different thing now, right? So now because this is within the Minikube container, I'm inside within Minikube computer. So in that you have a lot of other bindings as well. Other Docker containers are running inside, right? So that's why I just type the IP address, but our node IP address is there. If you go right away to the bottom, you can see our node IP. This we have. Because it's a single node cluster. You have that one, right? But other than that, you have a lot of other Docker containers running. That's why this virtual ETS0. Each VETH interface represents a Docker container. Right? We'll understand those in later more detail, how the Docker networking is working inside the cluster, Kubernetes cluster. Right? So I'm not going to explain those things used in Minikube. When we start the Kubernetes architecture, we will learn these, what are these Docker interfaces, VETH, and those things, right? Okay, so that is about inside the container. Now, within the container, earlier I ran Docker PS on my guest OS to check the Minikube, no, right? Now, Minikube itself a container, right? Within that container, if I run Docker PS, so let me just clear this. Within that, now within the container, right? I'm inside the container, okay, right? Host name and admin. So now I am going to type inside that I am going to type Docker PS. See what happens. You need to understand this thing, right? Now, it's like Docker within a Docker. Inside the Minikube container, I am checking what other things run. You can see it has many images running, right? Many containers up and down. I have Nginx because I have deployed the Nginx container. And there are a lot of other default, you have to facilitate the Minikube environment also, there are certain default containers up and running. So those also here, right? These things are by default, kube system. Those things are default to maintain them in the master node of the master control plane of the Minikube environment, right? So we have only one node here. So there are containers running within Minikube container itself. Okay, so that's how it works. It's a single node cluster, right? Now here, if I type again IP address, what will happen? Right? So it will show me the previous list again because it's a single node cluster. Okay, right. So that is for you to get an understanding what is happening behind, but we'll come back to this Minikube environment with more detail later. Again, Minikube container details, right? So that's why I think I have given that one execute and Docker PS. So I'll update the details in the document before uploading it to the GitHub, right? Okay. All right. So let's do some more practicals, right? I'm going to exit from here, right? Now I'm inside again back to my Docker user. I'm into my guest OS, right? Yes. Okay. Yeah. Now what I'm going to do, let's create something like a small pod, right? Let's create an Nginx pod resource, right? Pod is a resource inside the cluster. Kubernetes or Minikube cluster is going to be a resource, right? And it's going to manage our containers. Now this is Nginx, right? Nginx is a network provider. So we are going to pull that container and pull that image and execute it and see, right? So this command, kube control right away is going to run with this name image is nginx latest. I'm assigning a port, the default port for nginx internal inside the container is running as 80. So I'm utilizing that one to get it exposed to outside later. Let's run this one and see. Now this is within a command line. I'm running the kubectl command, kubectl run right away. Okay, so let's run it and see. Now, if I run it, I think let's check whether okay, let's run it and okay. As I say, this one is already running, right? So already exists, right? If I just run kubectl get po, yeah, let's delete those things, right? Kubectl delete po mine. The next yes, it's deleted. All right, I don't have. Let's run it. All right, so now if you say get PO, you can see now it's container creating because it's pulling the image, right? It's pulling the image. I can describe it and also see it, right? I can say kube control describe view. Describe view. Yeah, right. Describe CO and the port name is this one, right? So we can see once I describe this tells me the events that's happen when it's starting the container. Successfully assigned a default and pull in the image. So this is where till it pulls, it says container created, then successfully pulled, container created, it started. So now it's up and running. So those are the events. Let's see more details about that. Whenever I'm doing resource creation, set of events are happening behind, right? Hold it for a while. These details, I'll come back to that. But now, if I go back and see, I have my Nginx container running, right? You can see one of one. One of one means on the right-hand side, it says the port. On the left-hand side, it says the number of containers, right? This means there is one port and one container, right? The minimum requirement for a port to survive is one container. You need to have at least one container for a port to up and run. You can have more than one container within the port. That's okay. Right, let's discuss those things later. So that is just a single line, right? Single line kubectl. You just right away ran this command and you got the image pulled and now container is up and running. Okay, right. So in that, so that is what it does. Let's perform. Yeah. Now the next thing is, this is you are just running it in a command line. No? But what if you want to modify those things? So always you have to come back to command and do the changes. No, right? So more the options coming into the kubectl, you will find it a bit difficult to edit those things because it's a command line. So what we normally do to when we deploy resources, we use something called manifest files. Manifest file. That's the best practice in the industry, right? So manifest file is a YAML file. Another name is YAML file, like YAML, yet another markup language, YAML file. It contains YAML syntax. So what we can do, create the first code with one Nginx container using the below manifest file, right? Basic pod.yaml. So we can create it. Please copy and paste the below content. Yeah, this is the content. This will be your content for your very first pod, basic one to create a Nginx container up and running. Right, let's try to get an idea also what is the content of the manifest file. Right, I think let's check whether I'm having that file. So yeah, I think a VI basic code. Hold on, let's create it, right? I don't think that is something. Anyway, so very simple. We can do VI. You can say basic port dot YML or YAML. That's fine, right? Basic port, right? So what you can do, insert, and very simply, we can just copy and paste this content. So this content, right? Copy and paste this content, right? So and save that. W2 to save, right? That's all. Right? So and kind is port, that's the category of resource, it's a port resource, and the name for the port, my port, and spec will give you what is going to be behind, and the name for the container is my container, and the image we are going to pull is Nginx status. So we have port name, we have container name, we are pulling image. And this kind is category, which category. We have different categories inside the Kubernetes. When you do create resources, we have to make it in which category. What is the category for this resource? Whether it's going to be deployment, whether it's going to be service, whether it's going to be volume, whether it's going to be a port, likewise, right? So let's learn those things later. And I have given an explanation for you with regards to this syntax, right? To go in the document, basic explanation for basic port.yaml, you can see in the document I have given it. Very first thing is API version 1. Most of the cases we'll be doing it V1 version. You can see Kubernetes support multiple API versions, right? V1 is the core API version. That's the starting point. About common resources such as pod and nodes, right? So because we need to understand what when the kind mean ports, what it needs to do, right? So there's a backend library, so that comes as API. So API version, so that's the most of the cases we can remain with version 1, but then the things are increasing inside the YAML file, right? More than one resource is coming, lot of services and config map secrets, then the version will change, right? We'll check those things later because version 1 is not capable of supporting many, complex configurations within the YAML file, right? So you need to have a larger version. Let's think about those things later, right? And then we have the kind port, right? This indicates which kind of resource. That's why here it is a port, the category, right? And we have metadata include info relevant to resource. Okay, now I just explained this. I spec declare specification for the declared kind, right? Please ensure the extension. Yeah, that's true. That is the extension because YAML, so that is very important. YAML extension you need to have, right? So, for example, you can see lslrt, right? Basic port dot YAM, YAML or YAM, whatever. Now don't keep this txt extension, it don't recognize, right? So in Windows, if you are not, since we are doing in Linux, it's fine. So, but the extension make it YAM. Okay. I think you got the idea. Basic port .yaml, that's fine. So just go to the document I have explained each and every syntax. Now what you can do is same thing, right? Now we ran a command line earlier. Now using the manifest file also you can. Right, I think it is also given how to execute it. Very simple. You can say kube control create -f and we give the file name. We don't use apply at the moment because we are not touching the deployment. So this is to create a basic resource, right? So you can see and kube control create the resource. F is where the file is. We can give a basic pod.yaml, right? So error while pod already exists. My pod already exists. Again, I think we can get it kube control. We'll remove that. The name is there, right? Get PO, right? Kube control. PO. My pod. Okay, my pod deleted. Right now you can simply run it. Same way, like earlier, if you say get PO, it will say container creating, right? It will say container creating, and it will after in a while it will create it, right? Now you can see my pod is 1 out of 1 is up and running. Okay, 13 seconds. Right? And again you can say describe, right? Describe PO my pod. Yeah. Right. So if I just go through this one in a little bit detail, so you can see in the guide also describe my pod, it is there, right? So if we just get into this one, let's see, right? Now this thing you understood. No, I just explained this one. It says successfully assigned the default my pod. Now default is the name is space. Don't worry about that. Let's understand it later. Put in the image, that's the image name is nginx, that's fine. Latest is the tagging. Image name has the tags, right? Versioning or latest. Latest is the updated images from the nginx official repository. Look, they have these images are stored in their official repository. No, they have Docker repository, so that is from there only we are pulling that. So successfully pull the image and it says this much of seconds. Then container created. That's fine, right? Okay, I think we'll break it here. No? So let's do the explanation in the next session. Otherwise, it will be too much and it's going over 20 minutes now. So let's have a break. I'll break the explanation here. After that, in the next session, we'll continue from this place or not. We'll have a deep explanation on this and we need to continue practical. All right, have a nice time. And if you like the video, you can subscribe. I'll meet you soon. Okay, bye-bye.